Tiny little explosions power internal combustion engines. If the explosions are not controlled, the engine may sustain damage due to the high heat produced. Thankfully, a water pump keeps coolant flowing through the engine to avoid this. But what would happen if the water pump broke down? Let's discuss the most typical signs of a malfunctioning water pump and how much it would typically cost to have it replaced. It's Max the Car Guy. Subscribe and let's get started. Elevated coolant temperature. A faulty water pump is most commonly indicated by an overheated engine. An elevated engine temperature reading on the dashboard or an engine temperature warning light are typically used to indicate this. A malfunctioning water pump will allow engine heat to accumulate to dangerous levels because it circulates coolant, which cools the engine. Be cautious if you notice the temperature gauge rising above its normal operating temperature position in your car, because some models won't move off-center until the engine has already reached dangerous levels. Unusual sounds. If an engine makes a whining, buzzing, or squealing sound, it might have a loose accessory belt, which could be the result of worn-out bearings or a loose pulley. The water pump will require a complete replacement if the problematic bearings are located within. Excessively tight accessory belts are a common cause of premature water pump failure. It is strongly advised that you get a belt tension gauge if you choose to replace the water pump on your own so that the tension is precisely set to specification. The mechanic ought to look into a whining car as soon as it becomes louder when it accelerates. Inconsistent temperature gauge readings. At all times, a properly operating cooling system will maintain the temperature gauge within normal bounds. But the temperature gauge needle can oscillate from normal to hot and vice versa due to a malfunctioning water pump. This can also be caused by a faulty radiator, but before the car is driven again, both problems need to be fixed. Another factor that could be causing variations in coolant temperature is an air bubble. Inaccurate temperature readings could be caused by air around the sensor. Overheating engine. Another sign of overheating is steam coming from the front of the car, whether it is moving or stopped. Evaporation happens when the water pump isn't operating correctly, which prevents coolant from flowing through the radiator to cool it down. Pull over to the side of the road right away if you notice steam coming from the front of the car. Long-term engine overheating can result in permanent damage to the vehicle. Although the cause of an overheated engine can vary, such as a malfunctioning thermostat or radiator, the outcome remains the same. If the leak is minor and you can fix it with more coolant, get the car towed to the closest mechanic so repairs can be made. Fluid leak. After leaving your car parked for a few hours, a bright green or orange liquid may have collected beneath the front end. This could be coolant. This may occur when the water pump's gaskets and seals deteriorate and crack or break. Even if there isn't a fluid puddle visible, it's still important to look at the water pump to see if it appears to have more debris on it than other engine bay components, especially if you observe any other symptoms. A slow trickle of coolant on the water pump's exterior can solidify and dry out, or it can even lead to rust or corrosion. Certain leaks happen only when the pump is running, which happens when the car is moving, while other leaks can happen when the car is not moving. The latter are brought on by other problems, like a malfunctioning radiator rather than a broken water pump. Replacement cost. The price to replace the water pump varies significantly based on the car's age, make, and size, but you should prepare to spend between $300 and $750 in total. At a dealership or when purchasing a particular type of vehicle, budget extra. Water pump and extra parts by themselves will cost between $50 and $400. On average, labor costs range from $250 to $350. Replacing a water pump typically takes 3 hours. If you purchase the pump yourself and have the mechanic install it, you might save money, but proceed with caution and make sure the parts are purchased from a reliable supplier. The vehicle's make and model can have a big impact on the overall cost. These figures may vary based on your location due to fees and taxes. Engine replacement is far worse, even though replacing a water pump can be costly. Driving the car should wait until the necessary repairs are completed. Replacing your water pump as soon as possible is inexpensive engine insurance if you're unsure of when it was last done. The timing belt or chain may need to be replaced, among other things that the mechanics may discover when disassembling components that prevent the water pump from operating. Getting an estimate is always a good idea before committing to any more repairs. Hope the information was helpful for you. If so, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel.